periods every single month, 12 months of the year. It's tough on women, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Did it affect your work ever?
I was not aware of PMS. I was so cranky. I didn't know what to do. To a very large extent, it does impact your life. You start understanding your body better, and you also realize that eventually it is you and you have to control it.
Make yourself mentally very strong, mentally very positive.
And watch the positive impact it could have. Women and periods, it's a monthly phenomena. For 90% of the women, it's associated with aches, pains, emotional stress. Sometimes the symptoms even get more extreme. It's difficult to cope, but that's what this show is all about. It's about helping women to stay on top even through periods. Joining me on the show today, Dr. Urvashi Jha, gynecologist with Apollo Hospitals. Seema Govs, she works with a software company, and I'm sure that time of the month is a difficult time even at work. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But Dr. Savita Date Menon, clinical psychologist with Apollo Wellness, joins us on the show as well. Thank you all very much for making the time to be on the show. Okay, so we all know about periods. We deal with them every month. But what are the most common physical symptoms that you've encountered?
A sense of bloatedness in the entire body, including the abdomen, the tummy, breast tenderness, soreness, stiff joints.
And what about back aches? Because I hear women say that quite often as well.
Well, that's indirectly an exaggeration of backache which has existed in the past. Just gets worse because of the water retention and the stiffness.
In some cases, the symptoms can get quite extreme, certainly in the case of Seema Govs.
I realized that I am suffering from PMS when I was 27. The symptoms which I faced was a lot of irritation, anger, and a lot of violent behavior. Violent behavior, of course, you can only do it on your husband, not on anybody else. But I realized that as you grow older, the symptoms per se don't change, but you understand this illness better. And to combat it, I have done a lot of yoga and meditation. That has really helped me.
Seema, we all live with a certain amount of emotional stress just before our periods. But in your case, it was much more difficult to handle. What did you feel?
I used to be extremely depressed, and I actually used to tend to get a little violent. So fortunately my husband is strong, so he could take it, but in that depressed state, you don't know what you're saying and what your actions are. So that was quite a challenge. In fact, the shouting was perpetual, so much so that there are times the neighbors could hear you.
Dr. Menon, if I could pull you in at this stage, women typically experience a certain amount of emotional discomfort in the premenstrual period, but what are we talking about here as far as mental symptoms of PMS go?
Manvi, fortunately, people experiencing Seema-like symptoms are rare. So outbursts of anger, screaming and shouting, even going to the point of suicidal ideation and making plans about suicide does happen. It is seen, but that is rare. But on the more common side, you could have discomfort, you could have a lot of irritability, you could have minor to major depression, a lot of disturbances with sleep, headaches could be reported fairly often. So these are some of the more common symptoms that women might experience with prior to periods.
We can all honestly say that we are different in the pre-periods period. But Seema, what triggered your visit to the doctor?
Actually, I was not aware of PMS, and we'd gone to the station to see of somebody, and you know how at a platform it is with a lot of crowd and all. And I actually shouted at him for something very minor, right across the, from one corridor to the other corridor.
This is your husband?
Yes, I actually shouted at him, and I could be really heard by everybody. And